And clear of the closing doors, please.
What up, son? What up? Louis Max, Grind&Pivot, Queens, New York today in the house. We have a bionic man. I think he's bionic. I don't know. This guy's unbelievable. Ultra runner, Iron Man, all out stud. And from Long Island, believe it or not. One man with one mission, Jay Asparro. Jay, my brother, how are you?
Hey, Louis, I am doing great. I really appreciate that intro. Yeah, I'm trying to build a machine over here, but I am far from being a machine at 42 years old. But thank you for that introduction. That's awesome. Glad to be here.
Great to have you. And yeah, well, you're still young, brother. I mean, you still got youth on your side at some point. You know, you're on the cusp, I think. But I'm not gonna hurt you too bad. How did this all start? You've been running. I checked out a little bit of your bio. Some friends of mine that I know introduced me to you, and for the last couple of years, you've run 50-mile runs, you've run 100-mile runs, you've done Ironman. I mean, bring us back. Tell me where this all began and how.
All right. Yeah, I hate running. I hate it, and I think everybody hates it. And when I was younger, yes, I was an athlete. I played Division I soccer. You know, I loved the sport. I had that athletic background, but in that type of running, it was like a horse. They trained me to sprint. Everything was a sprint. And then after I was done with college and I was out and I was working and I was going out to dinner every night.
Where'd you go to school? You went on Long Island, right? Hofstra? Where'd you go?
I did. I went to Hofstra University. Yeah.
Right, okay, cool.
Hofstra University. And and then when after adulthood and I stopped working out and I started putting some pounds on and I was getting married, I'm like, I got to get in shape. So I was like, let me run a half marathon. And I hated it. But I was like, that's the only way the weight's coming off. And I looked okay and I got married. And I was like, all right, I'm never going to do that. Because whenever I finished a half marathon, I always said, you got to be crazy to run 13 more miles after this. You got to be nuts.
Totally.
And and then that's how the running was. And then I'll be honest, one of my all-time dreams, and I never thought I would ever do it in a million years, was to run the New York City Marathon. And 2050, bad place. I was a bad place in my life, and I was like, bad things kept happening to me, and work, and just life. And I was sitting there, and I'm like, you know what? If I'm never gonna run the marathon, I'll say do it now. And I hit the button, and I was so nervous because I was like, how am I gonna do this? Once I hit that button, saying I was signed up for the marathon, I was like, shoot, I'm gonna have to really train to do this. And I trained that year, and I got to the New York City Marathon that year. I was healthy, and I ran it at a nice, really easy jog. And that, I got goosebumps thinking about it. It changed my life forever.
Pivotal moment right there. So that's one of your first pivotal moments. How did you train for that? How did you train? I mean, I know there are many people that run all the time and train, but this is a guy who doesn't like running really.
Yeah, and I ran 3 nights. Or 2 nights during the week, short runs, and on the weekend I do a long run. And at the time I was a big drinker, not proud of it, and I would drink 3 nights. And I was like, after I did the marathon, I'm like, if I could drink 3 nights and I could run 3 nights, I mean, imagine I cut out that drinking, what more can I do? Right. And that same thing with that New York City Marathon, I was like seeing all those fans, and I'm a huge Met fan, unfortunately, and the day I was running the New York City Marathon, the Mets were in the World Series that night, and everybody was cheering. I was wearing my Mets gear. It was an amazing day. And obviously they lost that night, obviously, because that's how my luck is. And and that just changed. That was a pivotal moment. Like, I could do anything. If I could do this marathon, I could do anything. And that led into the next year, where throughout that year, my grandmother had Alzheimer's. And my grandmother, Anna Asparro, she's a matriarch of my family. She loves me so much, and I love her so much. And that Alzheimer's disease, she was in a nursing home. And every Sunday I would go and visit her at the nursing home and have breakfast with her. And I really just saw how difficult that disease was for me. Not so much for her, because she didn't know who I was. And it was a very difficult time. And I learned, you know what? If I was in this nursing home, she would be with me all the time and supporting me. And that's when it clicked for me. I was like, my mom, my dad, and my aunt and uncle, who were her primary caregivers, were in that nursing home with her every single day for 8 years.
Of course.
I know I can't do that. So I said, you know what? I'm going to use running as a platform to talk about Alzheimer's, honor my grandmother, and I'm going to do it for a Long Island Alzheimer's and Dementia Center, a nonprofit organization. I'm going to use running as a platform, because if people hate running, they know what it's like to run 1 mile. And people that love running, they won't run more than 26.2 miles. And at that time, my grandmother was 90 years old. And that's when I decided I was going to run 90 miles across Long Island from Montauk to Plainview over 3 days.
Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah.
So how did you start to train for that? I mean, what motivated, I know that what motivated you, but the rap that you gave was unbelievable. I mean, it really was. And I think it comes from, within your heart, the values, your family. It really was from within. But, a day or two or 3 or 4 later, how do you continue doing this? What motivates you to get out of bed on the regular and really do it? I mean, is there a thought in your head? Is there something? What is that? What does that go? What is that vision that you're, actually looking at?
That's amazing you say that. Yeah, that 90 miles, man, it scared the crap out of me. But I was like, this is not for Jay Asparro. Like, if it was for me, the 90 miles, I would have quit.
Yeah,
but I'm like, because I've done it before. When I want to do things for myself, it's easy not to show up. But this is to honor one of the greatest people I know in my life, my grandmother, and what she did for my family. And I was doing it for my family. And then I was doing it for a nonprofit organization to help people in the community. And then as I started talking about this and getting it out into some social media aspects and newspaper outlets, people started coming to me, talking to me about their families and how Alzheimer's and dementia has affected them. And now it started taking this whole new
responsibility, right? Like almost a responsibility, right?
And I'm like, I have to do this, and I have to reach more people and let them know I'm doing this for them. And that was the drive. And now I kind of trained the way I was trained for the New York City Marathon. And I was still doing I was disciplined, but not enough. And I'll tell you another pivotal moment I had, because when I told my family and my friends I was doing this, they're like, why are you doing this?
Great. I got to interject for 1 second. Great call on that. Perfect. My next question was about your family. You're a family man, you have kids, you're married, how, they got involved. Well, go ahead. Tell us what they thought. They thought you were out of your mind.
Crazy. And I've been known to be a little crazy in my lifetime.
Okay.
So when I say this, like, oh, you're crazy, you're going to get hurt, just go visit your grandmother. My friends, they were like, oh, yeah, you got it. And I could see them rolling their eyes, like turning their head, looking at each other like, he's crazy, like he's not going to do it. But I knew what was inside me, and I knew what was in my heart, and I knew my vision. And that's the thing, like, these other people who are the closest people to me, who I love, and I know they love me, they don't know what I'm willing to do for this, even though when you say it. And that's why I tell people now, when you have dreams, you can't be shouting it to everybody, because that dream that you have is so important to you that you need to keep it close to your heart, because people are going to talk you out of your own dream. And people do not know how much you're willing to give for your own dreams. And sometimes you can't tell everybody. Sometimes you just have to do the work. But with all that being said, I told my family, I told my friends, and they're like, you're going to get hurt. Don't do it. And it was hard, because I was like, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing it for grandma.
Yeah, for somebody
else. They
were
right, though.
Yeah, they didn't want you.
Right.
Yeah. So how about your wife? Was she on board? I mean, after obviously you guys are part of a team. She was basically okay, I'm with you. It's on you, kind of thing. I'm going to help you, of course. Supportive.
Yeah, she was supportive. Like, because now everyone thinks I'm crazy. She's like, I'll let you support it, but it can't get in the way of anything. So now I'm like, all right, I got to get up at 5 a.m. because I got the kids, and now I got to change my lifestyle around. And the second most pivotal day in my entire life, 6 months after I decided to do that 90-mile run, it was in June of 2016. I've been training in a really hot week, didn't hydrate enough. And at 3 a.m. in the morning, my dog was barking and needed to be let out. So I got up, I run downstairs, I let my dog outside. And as I turn around, I see those white dots and I get a little dizzy. And the next thing I know, I wake up and I'm face down on the floor. And I lift my head up and blood starts pouring out of the side of my face.
Wow.
And I just passed out from dehydration. And now I have to go to the emergency room at 4 a.m. But the best part of all this is I'm going to see my family the next day at 12 p.m. because I'm the godfather at my niece's christening in New York City. Now I go to the emergency room, they take all the tests, everything's fine, but I have to put 20 stitches in my eye. When I got into New York City, I got ready for the christening because I focused on my niece and not what I was doing. When I got there, my eye was blown up, and all the people I said I was doing it for, they looked at me and they didn't say it because they love me, but I knew what they were thinking. Like, they were right. And I stayed for my niece. I stayed as long as I could. I went home, and in the car on the way home, I'll never forget this. I go, Jay, you could give up now and they'll all be right. Or you don't tell anybody and you just keep doing what you're doing every single day. And you're going to have to switch your entire lifestyle. You have to way to eat, you drink, like the discipline, determination. You're going to have to turn this around. And I decided this is not going to stop me falling here, and I'm going to do this the right way. And I did. And then that year, I ran 90 miles over 3 days, and I raised $37,000 for the Long Island Alzheimer's and Dementia Center. My entire family was with me every single mile for those 90 miles, and it changed my life forever.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. Not only is it, great for you as a human, but the beautiful thing about it is that you're, touching so many other people's lives as well. And I think that's what it's all about. Now that's motivation enough, I would have to think. And your diet, you changed your diet. Are you a crazy man eater now? What are you, are you totally all about just health, not necessarily, but healthy, but you're on a regimen of some sort? Well, tell us about that.
So my body, I use food for fuel. I have to fuel my body for the way I train. And I now, I give up red meat. I love steaks. I have friends that own steak houses. I don't eat red meat anymore because my body can't process it.
No LOUIE for you? No Peter Luger for you?
No, man. The porterhouse or the ribeyes. I used to, so good. Thinking about it, tastes good, but not good for my body. Right. And then hydration, 100 ounces of water a day, grilled chicken, sweet potato fries, brown rice. Those sweet potato fries and the brown rice, they give me the right carbohydrate so that when I eat it the night before a long run the next day, I have the sustained energy to go run 3 hours, 4 hours, where I feel amazing. But if I'm eating red meat and pasta, which is the worst thing you can do if you're a runner, because you can't process those carbohydrates and it just sits in your stomach and you run the next day, then I'm not going to feel right. And then your recovery after you do those long runs, I got to recover, I got to hydrate. And so that's how I really changed my diet and I changed my thinking. It's all about discipline.
Right. And were you, it sounds like you had it in you. Were you always this disciplined growing up? Were you always kind of into one thing and you do it extremely, to number 10, and then you get as much as you can out of it. But it seems like something that you've just grabbed on and you're not turning back. There's no rear view mirror here. You're just going.
I'm going, because that was 2016, that 90-mile run. So then the next year I realized how much impact we had on people's lives. Mm-hmm. And the next year would have been my grandparents' 75th wedding anniversary. So I decided to run 48.8 miles in one day, and then a New York City Marathon the next day to complete 75-mile run. So the 100-mile run, that came after 3 years of doing these events, and we got close to raising $100,000. And my grandmother passed away April 5th in 2019. Okay. And I decided, I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. But I was like, no, we're so close to raising $100,000. I'm going to honor my grandmother's life. So I'm going to run 100 miles on the track at Kellenberg to get to that $100,000 donation mark. And I chose that because I mentally wanted to break myself down on a track, running in circles. And I feel like running in circles like that is just like a caregiver who has to take care of a loved one and they don't have anyone to support them. And every day they get up, they probably feel like they're walking around in circles every single day because they're taking care of a loved one and no one's taking care of them and no one's helping them. And that's when I said, you know what, this run on the track 100 miles is going to be a reflection of what the caregiver does every single day.
Wow. When you run, do you run listening to music or what's your so you're shaking your head. So I think you do listen to music, right?
I listen to music, but I also listen to motivational speeches off of YouTube. I put my ear pods on, and this past weekend I ran 20 miles on Saturday, and it took me about a little less than 4 hours. 2 hours of it, I'm listening to motivational speeches. Because what you feed your brain is what you believe. What you feed your body is what you are. But when I start feeding my body that you need to be disciplined, you need to be determined, anything is possible, pain is only temporary, like this type of things, I truly believe it and live it. And that's what gets me through my run. And it's all these motivational speeches that I listen to. And then, I have music that I also listen to that gets me motivated and keeps me going. But it's really those motivational speeches that just feed me.
Really? So give us give us a Jay Asparro playlist, just a couple an idea, and then give us one of your motivational, who might be the speaker or what the speech might be.
So I mean, I'm gonna music is like Bruce Springsteen. I like, Born to Run is always a good one. Eminem songs are always my favorite, just to keep me pushing and going. Killers, I'm a big fan of. Red Hot Chili Peppers, that type of music is the music I like to go to. But then Eric Thomas is a speaker on YouTube. He's a phenomenal speaker. He tells you how it is.
Really?
David Goggins is an ultra runner, ex-Marine, Navy SEAL. Like, he tells you how it is.
That's amazing. Sounds like a maniac.
He is a maniac. And that's what it is. It's like, so these are the things that I think about every single day. I have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because life is uncomfortable. And if I start putting myself in situations that are uncomfortable and I'm willing to do it, like over the winter, I ran every single training run I had between December through April. I ran in shorts and a t-shirt. I don't care if it was 2 degrees out or 20 degrees out. I ran in shorts and a t-shirt. I had gloves on and a neck warmer, but it was shorts and a t-shirt because I had to force myself out of uncomfortable situations.
Right.
Yeah, me.
Absolutely.
And it didn't matter. And I wasn't doing it to prove to anybody else. It was like, you have to prove things to yourself. And that's what I did. And now if life, which always gives us uncomfortable situations, I'm prepared to be uncomfortable. And it's because I know how to put myself in these situations. So it's all a mindset. And David Goggins is the man. There's, oh God, what am I? Iron Cowboy. If you follow him, he did 100 Ironmans in 100 days. Insane, like the mindset of these guys. And that's what I try to pick up, because I'm running 100 miles across Long Island in about 38 days. I think October 2nd, October 3rd. Every day I wake up, I believe I'm running 100 miles across Long Island. It is normal. And that's what these people I listen to, that's their mindset. The uncommon is normal. And that's how I'm going to get through this, and how I've gotten through these other runs.
Amazing. How does Jay Asparro chill out? Do you chill out?
It's hard during training, but I have a small group of friends that I love. They get what I'm doing. Our kids hang out together, and just chilling out with them in the backyard with the kids playing, and I'm hanging out with them. That's for me right now. That's chilling. That's what I love doing.
Has this helped you through in just regular everyday life in terms of your being and your psyche?
100%. I am a different person than I was 7 years ago. I believe we have 24 hours in a day. I try to conquer the day. I know I have to run 100 miles. If I think about 100 miles every day I wake up, I'll never get out of bed. But if I think about what can I do today to get me closer to accomplishing that 100-mile run, I just got to conquer today. That's all I have to do. I have to make today the best day I possibly can. And the more days I add up doing that, that's how I get to these big goals. Instead of looking at this big monstrous goal and you're like, how am I ever going to do it? No, I got to chip away each day. So it's changed my life, and I appreciate every minute of every day. And I'm positive Pete. I'm going to be so positive. People
Amazing.
Don't like it.
No, it's it's contagious. When people are down and out, and I'm sure mental illness is a very, very tough disease to deal with. I mean, you being positive is just amazing. I mean, for me, you're coming over, I don't even know you, and I'm feeling the vibe where I don't have time to be depressed anymore. I'm gonna jump out and get going. I might not run, by the way, but I might do something else. So I mean, your message is incredible. I really love it, and I'm glad you spent some time here telling us what's coming up for you. I know you got a couple of events coming up that you want to talk about. Let's get them out there. Let's promote it. What do you got?
Yeah, so for a training run, I have to run 30 miles as a training run, which is 4 miles more than a marathon. And I decided, instead of just doing this run on my own, I'm going to do it at the Plainview Old Bethpage Middle School track on Monday, September 6th. I'm going to start at 6 a.m. and I'm going to run 30 miles on a track, just going in circles. So whoever would like to come down, walk, jog, run, bring their kids as a field, play soccer, baseball, whatever you want on the field, just to be down there. but I'm going to be running 30 miles on a track September 6th, the Monday of Labor Day.
Beautiful.
And then, yeah. And
we're going to put that down
then,
in the comment section below. So we'll put all that in, but go ahead.
Yeah. And then we have the big run. It's a 100-mile run from the Lighthouse in Montauk to the Long Island Alzheimer's and Dementia Center in Westbury, Long Island on Saturday, October 2nd and Sunday, October 3rd. I'll be running 50 miles each day, running across the entire island.
Wow. That is incredible. Well, I'm going to be keeping my eye out for you. I mean, I just started following you on social media. Speaking of social media, we talked earlier a little bit about it. A lot of people, take shots at social media. I think it's a double-edged sword. I think it's a great thing, obviously, for networking and getting your message out there. But sometimes for me, it becomes a little negative only because, you're looking, you're watching, you get totally all consumed in it. You follow all this, all these crazy different things. I'm going to be the first one to say I go down the rabbit hole, and I got to back up a lot. And of course, with a podcast and a YouTube channel, you're looking for people to subscribe and you want them to help, blah, 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 blah. So you had said that to me earlier, and we could talk about it now for a second, is that you deem it a super positive thing. Give us your spin on social media.
I'm on it a lot, every single day. Every morning I wake up, I'm looking for motivation. I'm following the inspiration. I'm following the people that are putting out great things, and I'm feeding off the great. And I do, as you're flipping through, you start seeing, like, I want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm like, oh, I see sports, or I see something, that looks entertaining, but it's not making me better. And I know once you go that way, you get stuck. But I'm going the other way, and I'm getting stuck in the positives. And the other part of social media for me, too, is my family is everything. My daughter, Olivia, who's 8, my son, 5, who's Shane. Like, I want to be their role model. And God forbid anything ever does happen to me. And I tell them that you have to do good in this world. You have to give back. And they ever say, well, what did you ever do? Well, I'm going to use my social media. Be like, go to my social media, see. Like, I'm going to tell you what I did. You could go see what I did. And you'll know who your dad is. Because I put posts in there, and I put what I'm feeling and thinking all the time. And that's the other part of social media. If I get 1 like or 5 likes, I don't care. If I get 100 likes, amazing. I'm actually, some days when I post, I want to motivate people and just say, we're all normal. We're all struggling, but you could do it. Like, I'm not great, but I'm just pushing through this stuff. But for my kids, man, it's like my diary to them. It's like, I can't wait in 20 years from now, and they're going to go back and be like, wow, my dad did something special. And that hopefully inspires them to do good in the world.
Well done. Well said. I mean, there's not much more I could say. You are, you know what they say? You are a mensch. You are a real mensch, as they say. I'm sure they say it in Plainview a little bit, but any shout outs to people out there before we get going?
Yeah, so great people. One of the biggest shout outs to Anna Sparrow. There's a big banner behind me. My grandmother is my inspiration.
God bless.
The greatest. God bless. I mean, she's with me every single day. I got her wings are there, flapping, waiting. She's lifting me up when I need her. Other shout outs to my wife, my kids. Without them, they were my inspiration. My parents, all caregivers. Every single person that's taking care of someone who has dementia, Alzheimer's, any disease, cancer, autism. There's a struggle there, and if you see my message, I'm running for you, and just know that your suffering it's giving hope to others, and good things are coming from what you're doing for your loved one. I want to give a shout out to our good friends, Steve and Karen. They're a big support system for me over this past year, who I also met through another shout out, Jen Kurtzman, who is my right-hand girl right now. We only met in March, but she has inspired me. As you can imagine, every single year, this gets really difficult and tough, and I'm doing a lot of the promoting, and she was inspired to support me and help me. And she's a master at social media, and she's really helping me to get the Anna Sparrow run out there. We've taken it to another level. I got to tell you, I wasn't ready to do this year because I'm tired, but she's giving me this extra energy to keep going. So big shout out to Jen Kurtzman, her husband, Jordan Kurtzman, and her family, and the Long Island Alzheimer's and Dementia Center. The people that work there, they're phenomenal people in the community who are helping families navigate through Alzheimer's dementia. That is like the all-inspiring inspiration that keeps me going every single day.
Brother, I want to say thank you so much for you taking a little bit of your time out to being on a Grind and Pivot, pivotal moments that changed everything. I'm a believer, man. You got me. You really got me. I had no idea what was coming. I knew you were, a runner, an ultra runner. I knew you were running for a cause, but I think it's become so much more than that. It's much, much, much deeper than you just running. It has become a message. It's become your whole being. And like I said before, it's contagious, man. It's infectious. I wish only the best to you, only good things. And, I'm going to be right there watching everybody. We're going to put all the stuff down in the comments below, in the description below, so you can check out Jay. 100 miles from Montauk to the Long Island Alzheimer's and Dementia Center, correct? And then on
Yes, in
September
Westbury.
6th, you're going to be doing 30 miles at the Plainview Old Bethpage Middle School. Anybody can come. You don't even have to. You could bring your dog. You could bring whatever you want on the Monday of Labor Day. And this guy is going to go to town. Rub shoulders with this guy. It's gonna make you feel good. It really is. Once again, Grind and Pivot, pivotal moments that changed everything. Want to say thanks to Jay Asparro. Really, peace.
Closing doors, please.